Locke Meredith. I'd like to invite you to join me on the next Legal Lines, where my guest is Ted James. He's running for mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and president of the entire parish of East Baton Rouge Parish. It's a parish-wide vote for the mayor and the president's position. So join us on the next Legal Lines with candidate for mayor, Ted James. Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates has served our community by airing Legal Lines, a community educational program for 18 years weekly to Baton Rouge and the surrounding areas. Watch Legal Lines at LockeMeredith.com or Cox Channel 1004. Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. Hello, welcome to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith, and I'm very pleased to have on the show for the first time Ted James. He's a former state rep in the House of Representatives in the state of Louisiana and an administrator for the Small Business Administration appointed by President Biden. Wonderful to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
Appreciate you doing this. And let's dive in.
Look, I have been a fan of the show. The desk is a much more massive than it appears on television.
Yeah, me and my boys
like
actually made this. I mean, we bought this, but the
Might
rest
look
of
good in the mayor's office one day.
This was from the flood. Anyway,
wow.
It's the skeleton that holds all this anyway.
Love it.
So tell folks about yourself. You've got a varied experience in different areas of the law and the representative government. You're running for mayor.
That's right.
And also the president of the parish of East Baton Rouge Parish. That's why they say Mayor-President. Right. So tell the folks about yourself. I know you're from here, born and raised, the whole bit.
That's right. Born and raised here. I'm in Baton Rouge. I attended South Boulevard Elementary, which is now Flame, and McKinley Middle and McKinley High School.
Two of my grandkids.
Good schools.
Yeah.
And grew up here in this community. I've never lived anywhere outside of Baton Rouge. Had an opportunity to travel the country, but Baton Rouge has always been home. The legal career was one that I knew I was going to be a lawyer.
You seem pretty focused.
Look, let me tell you something.
Even when you were young.
Undergrad, I was an accounting major, and I was going to be a CPA and go off and become a tax lawyer. And I think my junior year, that's right, exactly. And that's exactly the way I felt when I worked, right? And I had an internship, ironically, with the city parish, and I was like, accounting is not what I want to do. And I thought I was going to work a little bit, but I went directly to law school and graduated law school in 2006. So you know what happened in Louisiana in 2005. So the summer of 2005, I worked for a big law firm in New Orleans, received an offer, but Katrina had other plans for me, and started working in the Office of Governor Kathleen Blanco doing housing and community development policy.
And then also got a position with Governor General.
That's right. After Blanco decided not to run again, I did a stint in the legislature as a staff attorney, and then I was appointed as the confidential assistant to the Secretary of Department of Revenue under the Jindal administration.
That's where that accounting degree came in handy. Huh?
Just a little bit. And I'm proud of the fact that I had an opportunity to work in both Republican and Democratic administrations, and that was the good old days when bipartisanship was accepted. Right now, it's almost not a badge of honor anymore to say that you can work on
with
across
other
the aisle.
people,
That's
different
right.
positions.
Yeah, in my legal career, of course, I practiced law and decided to resign from the Department of Revenue to run for office. And it was
Which
after
was the
Katrina.
state rep.
Yeah. And it was my Katrina story. We, of course, had a lot of population growth in East Baton Rouge Parish, so a new district was created here, and I resigned to run for that district. And
101,
District
right?
101, that's right. So it was a district that New Orleans lost population, so 101 was a traditional New Orleans district, and of course, I had the distinction of being the first person to serve in District 101 here in East Baton Rouge Parish. Ran a race of 6 people, very unique race. One of my cousins ran, and law school classmate, a fraternity brother, and blessed to win with almost 60% of the vote, and served 10 years in the legislature.
And you said you resigned because you got another position for the federal government.
That's right. So served in the legislature for 10 years. And
worked with Dan Claytor on the criminal reform.
That's right.
practice.
Dan is a good friend, dynamic legislator. As chairman of the Criminal Justice Committee, he appeared before on some tough issues, right? Death penalty, criminal justice reform.
And he was a prosecutor for Harry Connick in New Orleans.
That's right. And like that hearing is probably one of the days that I wish everybody in the state could pay attention to the legislature, because of the respect that you have for for folks on both sides of the issue. Very tough issues when you have the parents and victims sitting next to folks that had families of the perpetrators, right? And to hear just the stories on both sides, very compelling. But enjoyed my time in the legislature. LA Wallet, for those folks who have LA Wallet, that was one of my bills, and worked on, really bringing a medical marijuana program to the state of Louisiana before it was extremely popular. Worked to ensure that both LSU and Southern had a seat at the table in that, but resigned to work for the Small Business Administration. And
so
honestly,
describe those duties. Because your region was 6, you said?
Massive, yeah.
Huge.
5 states. So Texas and all of the states that border Texas. So one of 10 across the country. A myriad of issues. Number one, the SBA is all about helping businesses obtain access to capital. So a large part of my job, I worked with lenders to say, hey, if you are doing SBA lending, we need you to do more, right? And then I worked to train lenders on the beauty of the SBA product. So why would a lender want to do an SBA? Well, number one, there's a federal government guaranteed. So they take a chance on entrepreneurs that may not have.
So the bank has nothing to risk.
Not a lot of risk, right? The risk is borne by the taxpayers, right? And if there's a case of default. So I work with not just recruiting lenders, but also preparing entrepreneurs for access to capital, right? We do a lot of technical assistance, because what I learned and what I had to teach folks, just because you have an LLC, that does not make you a viable small business, right? So the technical assistance through various partners throughout the country to help those businesses get their business in place.
Everybody that, I guess there's criteria that they have to meet?
That's right.
You make sure that they qualify.
Yeah. So,
and then you help them obtain the lending?
That's right. And so for the SBA definition, you can be a business of 450 people and still be considered small. Right. But something. In those access to capital conversations are usually the small entrepreneurs with 50 or fewer employees. And then the third thing that we would do, we help small businesses prepare for procurement opportunities. So if you're a business and you have something to sell to the federal government, from IT services to construction, landscaping, we would help those businesses, number one, strengthen their back office. So balance sheets, profit and loss statements, capability statements, and then we would teach them how to bid on federal government jobs. And that was probably the most enjoyable part of the job for me.
So how many people do you think you processed during that period of time, and how long were you there?
Well, I'll tell you, I was there for 2 years, hundreds, right, that we've connected to capital opportunity. I know several businesses here in East Baton Rouge Parish who were able to receive not just SBA certifications, but multi-million-dollar contract opportunities.
What period of time?
So from 2022 until 24.
So
I resigned
pandemic,
in February. That's
COVID.
Right. That's right.
To help trying to get people back on their feet.
That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
Excellent. And then you decided to run for mayor.
Yeah.
Am I missing something? So you did the SBA and then you stopped and you said, I'm running for mayor.
That's right. Well, I'll tell you, I strongly considered running for mayor 8 years ago. And I was really enjoying the legislature at the time. Between 2016 and today, I'm a parent now, right? And I have a beautiful little 7-year-old daughter who I'm raising in this community, a 16-year-old bonus daughter. And the SBA experience really gave me an opportunity to look and see what we were missing.
All right, let's continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith with Ted James, running for mayor. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades. But our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Trust is important when hiring an injury law firm. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan Associates, thousands have trusted us and gotten the results they deserved. Visit us at LockeMeredith.com. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith, very pleased to have on the show for the first time Ted James. He's running for mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and the president of the entire parish. Let's dive back in. So you decided you want to run for mayor. Why?
Yeah, I'll tell you. The last 2 years, I had the opportunity to travel this country, and I watched what effective local government can do to raise the quality of life in places that don't have the resources and the assets that we have here in Baton Rouge. So when you live in a capital city that has an LSU, a Southern, the seat of state government, a downtown on the river, the ports, the industry, and we're stagnant versus other communities that were taking off. For me, that's a leadership and vision problem. And decided after several conversations with the current mayor, after consultation with friends and family, that I could no longer sit on the sideline, and I could no longer complain about the things that weren't happening in my community, and decided to put some skin in the game and run for mayor. I think one of the major things that I hear way too often, and we know the numbers, we are losing our best and brightest every year. And it's unfortunate because we receive thousands of young people at LSU and Southern every August. And for me, if my daughter decides to leave Baton Rouge because she wants to, I could live with that. But if she feels forced because she's had to choose between home and opportunity, I feel responsible. So that's why I decided to submit my name to be the next mayor-president.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And you actually worked for the Mayor Broom in the past?
Well, we're allies in the
collaborated?
legislature, and I worked with her the first time she got elected. Yes.
And I guess as a state rep,
Well, we represented the same area. We lived in the same neighborhood at one point. So I still consider the mayor an ally. She thinks things are going great, and I think things should be going much better. And I still consider her an ally. We just on opposite sides of the coin right now. Yeah.
Let's talk about the plan of government.
That's right.
Because we say the mayor-president because it's a plan of government that would give you the authority, if you win, to act as the chief executive for the city of Baton Rouge and president on behalf of the parish, the entire parish.
That's right.
Of East Baton Rouge Parish. So, I know you're friends with Rolf McAllister. I am too, and Rolf did a show with me a year ago, probably talking about the city planner concept, and I think I've read, I believe, that you don't want to have it in the plan of government. Tell me why.
Well, I'll tell you that the issue that we have is that we have a current administration where we've had 5 CAOs in the last 7 years. So
define CAO, please.
The chief administrative officer.
Okay.
So the mayor's number one person. We've had 5 in the last 7 years. And city managers are what they call, in communities they have a city manager, they call them weak mayors. So basically the city manager handles the budget, handles all the hiring,
all the day-to-day
all the day-to-day stuff. And the mayor is a figurehead, is a cheerleader.
Well, and
cuts the ribbons.
Political liaison
That's right.
for the government.
And for me, what I have said is that I plan to hire the best and brightest to lead my office. My issue with the plan of government change is that the council gets to veto my decision. Now, when I'm elected as mayor-president, I don't want to concede that responsibility to the council. I've watched too many times in the legislature. Most definitely, these decisions become political. I've watched Democrats hold off an appointment for Governor Jindal, and I watched Republicans do the same thing for John Bell Edwards. The city parish shouldn't be beholden to that level of politics. Now, I know that people cheer about Walter Mansour and William Daniel, the type of work that they were able to do. Ted James has committed that I will hire someone with governmental experience, and hopefully this person might have some business experience too. All of the different criteria that's set forth, I've committed to hire someone. My issue with
so it's not an issue of creating such a role.
Not at all. Not at all. I don't need.
You don't want somebody to veto your decision.
100%.
Which would be the council.
Because we make it too political at that point, right? And it's not about me walking around with the big head. I am going to work with the council tooth and nail on an agenda that's not a Ted James agenda, but it's an agenda for East Baton Rouge Parish. But on this, the most critical hire, when the voters of this parish trust me to lead them, I think that they should trust me to make that decision.
So you and I were speaking earlier. What if it was in the plan of government that a chief administrative officer, is that what it's called? Not
The city manager.
City manager.
Mm-hmm.
One is to be hired, but you eliminate the council's veto power.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that, right?
Because that's what you're doing anyway.
You know, and the other thing that I've said with the plan of government, there are some changes that I would like to make to the plan of government, especially with the fact that now we have St. George. There are multiple conversations that we need to have about the way we do business. And one of the things that I regretted about my time in the legislature, every year there are 5, 6, 7 different constitutional amendments. So for us, I believe that a new council, a new mayor should take a look at the plan of government and not ask the voters to approve changes this year and again next year.
Because that's what you would plan on, if you're elected mayor, that's what you plan on doing anyway.
Most definitely. And we haven't had the round of vigorous conversations about this throughout the public. Now I know that there are some meetings scheduled now, but this is like an 8 to 9 month process. Just like we're having this campaign, we should be having an aggressive campaign to explain the plan of government changes. Now, there's nothing against I'm giving him a promotion, Councilman Gode, who's done this work. Nothing against the work. He and I talk a lot. He disagrees with me on this, but once I'm elected, I look forward to re-engaging in that conversation because there are some serious things that we need to discuss about the way we do.
And you don't think they're being addressed currently in the proposed changes?
Well, there are other things that I like to see. Like right now, when we talk about the council members, it says that council members should reside in the district. I think it should mirror what we had in the legislature and be domiciled in the district, right? When you look at the term of office for the mayor-president, we're unlike most municipalities, and when we have 3 terms, when most only have 2. When we look at our
so
retirement system and
are you
other
proposing
things,
limit the
I'm strongly
the
considering
terms
it. Yeah,
to 2 instead of 3.
I'm strongly considering it, even once I'm elected. I think that there's some validity in being just like the majority of the municipalities here.
Okay. So tell me what it is that you would focus on. I think there's 5 primary areas, broadly defined,
Yeah.
and how you would prioritize them.
Yeah,
Are you trying to do all 5 at one time, or are you prioritizing them?
That would be foolish of me, right? But there are some very serious things that we need to address very early. Number one is to surround myself with a dynamic team very early on. Public safety is the most important issue in this parish. But what I say
crime too, because that's part of public safety.
Right, and what we have to do is when we have this conversation, there's a law enforcement conversation, yes, but there are those social ills, those things that we know drive crime in our community: education, lack of jobs, homelessness, blight, mental illness, and we have to be able to have both of those conversations simultaneously.
So is that the area you would focus initially?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how long before you're able to implement? I guess it depends on the participation and agreement with the council.
Yeah,
right?
I think that there are some things that we can do very early, right? One of the first people I will be calling on day one is Sheriff Gotro, because I like to see a multi-agency task force.
And Sid's been there
addresses.
forever. The sheriff, he knows everybody,
Yeah, he
knows
does.
he's been through all the great trials in
That's
the
right.
city.
That's right. He's the chief law enforcement officer of this parish.
That's right. So let's continue this on the next segment. This is Locke Meredith with Ted James running for mayor. We'll be right back.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith. Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Welcome back to Legal Lines. I'm Locke Meredith. My very special guest is Ted James. He's running for mayor of the city of Baton Rouge and president of the parish of East Baton Rouge. Let's dive back in. You have 5 kind of big, broad, targeted areas that you want to focus on.
right.
You initially start talking about public safety / crime. Give me the details.
And I'll
How do
tell
you tackle it?
We have 11 different law enforcement agencies in this parish. I want to break down the silos so they can work more collaboratively to keep us safe. Of course, we need more officers. Of course, we need more competitive pay. No one running for mayor will say, otherwise, right? We need to actually focus on those things that drive crime. We need to eliminate blight, especially in North Baton Rouge. We do that by, number one, we don't
It's
have a
a
blight
tragedy.
map, right? We don't have a plan, right? We have a Build Baton Rouge entity that's a quasi-governmental entity. The mayor controls the appointments. I'm going to make sure to utilize my appointments, but what we have to do is make sure that they have the resources to go in and revitalize our community. What Detroit has done, very good model, right? Detroit today does not look like the Detroit 10 years ago because they went in, they demolished.
Who goes
There was
in?
strong, the
city.
city
Okay.
parish. We need strong code enforcement, right? We need to demolish those
What do you think about the
dilapidated
traffic
structures.
summons of city court?
Oh, but if we could, that's another show.
I know. I
Yeah.
remember when everybody was for making,
That's
you know,
right.
there'd be a consequence,
That's right.
and then all of a sudden
That's
it just
right.
went away.
But we got to be serious about code enforcement. We got to be serious. Number one, the city parish. We own dilapidated structures right now. There's stories on the news almost monthly about an entity that has, or a homeowner that has to call Brittany Weiss at Channel 2 to get the city parish to cut the trash, to cut the grass, pick up the trash, eliminate blight. We have to get our act together first. Jobs, 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 right? People that are working are less likely to commit crimes, right? We have an economic development function and we have a workforce function that, again, let's break the silos. Most cities our size are taking the workforce function and merging them with the economic development function because we have to make sure that we are training for the jobs that are emerging here in our parish and training for the jobs that we are going to recruit. We're competing with cities that already have the trained workforce. So we have to do that. Jobs, 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 strengthen our small business ecosystem here. I've seen it across the country at the SBA, access to technical assistance so that our businesses know how to leverage the different opportunities in terms of access to capital and procurement opportunities for those that want to use revenue growth through government contracting.
I know that we talked earlier about kind of the big giant assets that the city of Baton Rouge has, and it included the refineries and the ports,
That's right.
which are huge hires of personnel. It seems like an outreach to those folks, along with everybody else.
Most definitely.
But those are two big boys.
And the other two, LSU and Southern,
Yes.
right? You know, we have to recruit industries that those young folks want to work in, right? When you look at the Committee of 100 said that the largest job producer for economic growth in the state, the healthcare industry. So we got to dive into those things. We got to make sure that our economy follows the trends in the state. EV charging stations, right? The federal government, they're dumping millions of dollars for us to do those things.
But we got 8, I
The
think.
technology around those things. We do. Well, the technology around those things. Are we propelling our young people while we have them at LSU and Southern to dive into those industries? Can we accept those industries, right? When we look at revitalizing homelessness and revitalizing communities and curing homelessness, we got to look at it from an economic development lens as well, because if we transition from just pure shelters to transitional housing, they're training opportunities. Other mayors are taking federal grant dollars. They're training the homeless population to work on the projects where they will later live, and then you have them in unified, you have them contributing, and then you have them in areas where you can bring in the social services to address the substance dependency, the mental health, and then the jobs training. You invite them to be producers in the economy.
So let's talk about education.
That's right.
Because that's really what you're talking about. That's specific to jobs, but the children.
Yeah.
I mean, I read that stat that Brack put out. It's just mind-numbing. What is it, 18 million, I think, initially, and only a third of the kids, or 32%?
We were funded 18 million.
At zero
We spent 10.
kindergarten preparation?
32% scored a zero, right? We left hundreds of kids on a waiting list. I was saying 400, it's about 500. So 500 babies
Kids,
on a waiting list, not getting early childhood.
And there was more money to be able to
more
use.
money. So, you know, a lot of times you hear government say, give us more money, right? This administration had the money, didn't have the leadership.
And
right?
who?
The city parish runs the Head Start program, right? So we have to fix that. We have to address literacy, workforce training. We got a new superintendent. I know his plans and goals. We need to be a better partner in the mayor's office. And I think we do that 2 ways. Number one, send him kindergartners that are prepared. Number two, for those not just 11th and 12th graders. You know, I've created dual enrollment programs in my previous role. We need to start making sure that they have technical training in the 9th and 10th grade to make sure that we are giving those young people opportunities post high school.
And when you consider tech, and literally the entire world's population is competing for the jobs.
That's
and
right.
they work
That's right.
15 hours a day and speak multiple languages and have those unique gifts. You just go, we're behind, and we need to get prepared, and you got to start with them when they're young.
No, most definitely. And then, you know, we can't ignore the huge elephant is in St. George, right? We're losing a huge percentage of our base as a city parish. So you're a lawyer, I'm a certified mediator. Right now, you got two sides fighting, right? And we need a mayor-president who's going to govern. Forget the past, right? I was against it. I thought it was a horrible idea, but the Supreme Court spoke not once but twice. So now it's time to get the grown-ups in the room, decide on the services that the city parish will continue.
Which is already providing and will continue.
Most definitely, right? And, you know, I've heard the mayor, and she said in previous debates that the cooperative endeavor agreement will be signed by election day. I hope so, because we need it to move forward.
And it boils down to money, right? How are the tax revenues and other revenues going to be split between the city of Baton Rouge and the remaining, I guess, areas of parish that aren't incorporated yet?
And of course, the number one commitment is to make sure that we don't interrupt services, right? But, you know, I'm running because we aren't doing the basics right now. Too many communities, we're not cutting the grass, we're not picking up the trash, and we're not sweeping the streets. We have to do that, get the basics right.
Hit quickly the other points, because we're going to run out of time here.
Well, I'll tell you, it's about creating opportunities here in East Baton Rouge Parish. We're in the capital city. The city of New Orleans and their legislative delegation, they are a lot more organized with us than us. My commitment is to have an East Baton Rouge Parish agenda in the legislative session so that we are going to the capital in our city and we're pulling down resources to fix our problems like other communities have done for a very long time. You had Gary Graves here, Congressman Graves. We have to make sure that we're intentional about pulling those federal dollars as well, and that's my commitment.
And he's a good liaison, although we're losing him, sadly.
Well, hopefully I'll be able to bend his ear when I'm the mayor.
I'm sure you will. He's a good listener.
Yeah.
All right, so the election is on November. It's actually the primary.
Yes.
The primary is November 5th.
That's right.
And then the two highest vote getters, assuming nobody gets greater than 50% of the votes, is going to be December 7th, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So what do you need people to do? Do you got a website?
TedJames.com, vote number 38.
Okay. And anything else you want to add?
Well, I'll tell you, I appreciate this opportunity. I look forward to being here. We do a great job of being on these platforms and asking folks to support us, but I'm going to ask you to help me govern this community as well.
Ted, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure meeting you. This is Locke Meredith, Ted James, running for the mayor of Baton Rouge and the parish.